Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to some people. Chips back from Canada. Had a great little trip. I was missing the shows so much that I said, you know what, let's just go live on a random Tuesday. Team. The boys have been putting in some phenomenal work. The work rate Sunday, um, yesterday, been centered around this Mohamed Salah talk. A bit too much for my liking, but it is what it is. Heated debates. Whether you can call them debates or one-sided. Gene, once he gets on an outburst, no, there is no filter on him, or there's no control with Gina. But yeah, we'll quickly sort of mention the last few days. Gene, lots have been happening. Nothing confirmed, but a lot of internal talk about some players. Mohamed Salah contract talks, whether it's a chess game, like Asim put it yesterday. Edwards sort of trying to muscle his way in again. Talk of Nunez was like a backup to Nkunku. I want to come to that as well because I think that was a bit of poor form from the journalist choice and what's being put out there. But first things first, Gene, how are you? Hope you've missed me.
Just about. I didn't miss your tweet though about Salah. It's a good job you weren't on the show because you would have got it a lot more than him. Trust me, you would have. But look, end of the day, look, we're all emotional people, and it's all about what we believe is right for the football club and stuff. And yeah, you mentioned, it's been a big few days. Salah's contract talks. And yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. You mentioned the tweet when Joyce come out in regards to Darwin and Nkunku that we wanted that. Everybody else, the data team wanted Nkunku, but Klopp wanted and Darwin, so we got Darwin. So an interesting one that you probably today.
Yeah, and just coming on that, I want to come on Mo Salah first. And yeah, I did tweet something very derogatory, very foul. I will apologize for that because Mohamed Salah, Gene, for me, from what I've seen as a Liverpool fan for nearly 30 years, he's the greatest Liverpool player in my lifetime. What I've seen, Mohamed Salah is my favorite player of all time, and he's probably the greatest Liverpool time in that last sort of 30-year period. What I don't like is that petulance on Saturday that he's shown. These are the last chance, whatever you guys want to call it. The last few times that he's going to play he's going to play for a great manager in Jurgen Klopp. Whatever Salah decides to do, whether he stays another year or whether he, goes off for new pastures, there shouldn't be ever any dirty laundry out in public, Gene. Yeah.
Side of I agree.
And we don't know what happened. Listen, a player of his ilk is always going to be pissed off that he's not starting every game.
Good.
He would have been seething that he wasn't starting against Everton. Granted, yes.
He did start against
Everton. Huh?
He started against Everton though.
He did. He was brought off there, wasn't he? He was brought off. Sorry, he was brought off, and then you don't start him against West Ham. So he must have been seething a little bit. He's got a point to prove. I just didn't like, and we don't know the context of what happened for that little spat. But I didn't like also when he was going through the media room, when he was walking past the media room, he goes, "If I speak, it will be fire." He could have said, because that ignites something else, because people will then speculate, he wants to say something, but he's been told by the club not to, or he's been told by Jurgen, listen, it's done with, but he feels as if he's got something more to say. That's what I didn't agree with either. You either say there's nothing to talk about, everything is fine. He could have said something like that. But to say something like, if I speak, there will be fire, that didn't sit well with me, Gene. That's what I got even more pissed off with.
Yeah, but have you tweeted that before you found out about the what do you call it?
I did.
In the whatever the zone you call it. But look, nobody's condoning what Salah's done.
Mixed medias and whatever, yeah.
Look, nobody condones. Nobody will sit here and condone it. It's just I didn't like it, and I've said it numerous times over the last couple of days. It was wrong. It was a mistake. My issue was I just felt as though we just went over the top with the reaction. But look, it's done now. Jurgen Klopp's dealt with it. We've moved on. We'll see over the next few days. Hopefully, Salah will come back. We'll see a huge improvement in his performance. Because let's face it, we all know he hasn't been great. But look, I want to move on from Salah because the truth is he's, the media guys, the journalists have come out that it looks like he wants to stay. The Edwards wants him to stay too. So look, we have to live with that and go with it. and believe it. But even though I know people will say it's a chess move, if £100+ million offer came in, would you take it? Look, question to you, Avi. I think me and you discussed on the show the other day. Right now, if you was to get 100 million plus for Salah, you'd probably sell. No,
I
I think
listen. I get the data stuff. I get he's putting up the numbers. I get all that. I think he's gonna go, Gene. I think he's gonna go. I don't think we'll get 100 million. I think maybe even 70, 80, maybe close to 90. If we get 100 million, wow, you take that money, Gene. I think he goes. I really do. I've got a strong believing he goes. I know some people might have some close connections with Salah and whatnot, and I think they've seen him in London somewhere today and whatnot, and he seems content. He seems happy. That's fine, but I honestly believe he will leave. And I think maybe for both club and player. And listen, I'm not saying that he's not got any more to give. He'll probably hit another 25, 30 in this Liverpool team. I just think for Arne Slot to come in, I think he may need a fresh start. Although he might think, listen, if Salah stays, that's a big, big statement to the other players who have been thinking about their future, who are unsure whether they should be staying or going. Listen, one of the biggest players, Liverpool, has decided to stay for another year or two. What does that say for the players that are in a little bit of double-minded? I mean, there's talks of Alisson maybe wanting to look out, see what's out there in Spain, maybe, or around the world. Talk of Van Dijk. I don't think Van Dijk leaves. I think Van Dijk will. I can maybe go on a little bit more and elaborate and say Van Dijk will sign a Liverpool contract.
Okay, look, what you're saying, Avi, I don't doubt that, and I've said it a few times to you that look, you know what, I'd probably cash in. My issue right now is, Avi, the players that we've got in them forward positions are nowhere near good enough, and it's a sad state of affairs in terms of numbers. They've not been doing it. In terms of availability, they've not been doing it. So it's a big gaping hole that you're going to leave behind when you take out the numbers that Salah puts on the table week in, week out, year upon year. And yeah, look, we are going through a bit of a transition. Maybe,
but that's the faith that we're putting in the data team then. If the data team have come across and now let's allude to Cholo Tigres, Salah, Pulida, that's fine. He stays or goes. I'm happy either way. I think my opinion is he goes. Sakib, I did address this right at the beginning of the show. It was I said it was very foul and derogatory of my favorite player. Just reactionary, nothing more. And I didn't expect the tweet to pop off like it did. But anyway, Gene, this Darwin Nunez and Kunku talk, and people were like, see, we should have got Nkunku. Nkunku's been injured for the fucking best part of 18 months. He's had a recurrence of that knee injury. You can't tell me that, they made a mistake by going with Klopp's choice and we should have got the data team. We wanted Nkunku and Joyce coming out with a statement. I didn't agree with that at all. It doesn't make sense to
either, Avi, because it was when it happened as well. It's just come out. All this stuff is going on right now, and then we've got a message saying that it's just going to pile on. It's going to make it look wrong in terms of the fans, because we're just going to pile on the pressure on Nunez about how bad he's been up front. But with all due respect, what's Nkunku really done since he's come to Chelsea? His availability has been shocking. He hasn't played much, and when he has played, I don't think he's been great. I know he looks slightly sharp, but in terms of player profile now, are we right? In terms of player profile and looking at who we moved away from, let's say, the false nine. And what Nkunku offers, how do you think it will? Do you think an Nkunku mold of player would have suited this team better rather than a proper nine?
A fully fit Nkunku, I think, takes that sort of Mane position off the left, Gene. He can play as a nine. We saw the goals that he scored in those 2 seasons with Leipzig. And it was all those that worry, I think he's had 2 ACLs, one on international duty and one at Leipzig. It was a knee injury, wasn't it? And he's just never got into his groove. But he's a fantastic footballer. If at the time you were asking me if they were fully fit, firing a Leipzig Nkunku or a Darwin Nunez at Benfica, I think, look, of course, I would go with the consensus. I think Nkunku was the one that I wanted. But having that article spread out and being published last week from Joyce, I think that was a bit left a sour taste. And Joyce is one of the best. I think if the best. Him and Ornstein, they're the goats of when it comes to breaking news, Liverpool news, concrete, reliable news. But that's a little bit silly. Ayush, just a comment here. Sorry, Gene. Nkunku got injured in 2023. We're supposedly getting him in 2022. And he was sensational at Leipzig in the 22-23 season. He got an LCL due to a horror Camavinga challenge in the French cap. Yeah, but he hasn't recovered from that. He played 10 games this season, 2 goals. He hasn't recovered from that in my eyes. So, yeah, it is what it is. We wanted Nkunku before his injuries. Fair enough. No, and I believe that totally. I totally believe that. Gene, what did you make of that?
What did I make of?
That would you have gone for Nkunku instead of Darwin too?
Hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? Back then, I wanted Nkunku over him. I'm not gonna lie. I think Nkunku fitted our player profiles more than Darwin, because we've never really gone with an out-and-out 9. And Nkunku was a proper goal scorer. But my issue with Nkunku, look, at that time was, look, we had, sorry, that I actually had no, at that time, I had no issue with him. I know Chelsea came in for him, and Chelsea were willing to throw top dollar at him. And that's probably one of the reasons why he went there. And I know they probably had him boxed off in that sense. But look, at that time, I wanted Nkunku all day long. Let's face it.
And he can play across all three. He can play across the board.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted Nkunku because he was a lot more proven in a sense. It's a German league, Leipzig. It's a better league than Portugal. I think we've seen a bit more of him than we've seen of Darwin Nunez. But Nunez was amazing at Benfica as well. He was putting up numbers, 30 pluses a season.
34, yeah. 34
you understand where they've gone. Let's face it, since they've both been here in the Premier League, I know he's had a bad injury, but Darwin, in terms of numbers, in performances have been okay, but the numbers haven't been great. The numbers are just simply not good enough for a number 9. And I've called it I've said it all along. I'm not a big fan of a number 9, an actual number 9 who's not going to give you 20 plus goals in the league, because it's just simply not good enough. And in terms of an actual player, you just mentioned was a better player. Look, he's definitely a better player. There's no doubt about a player in terms of what he brings. But we went with Klopp. Klopp was probably, you can't blame Klopp for. I don't blame Klopp for going for Darwin. This is another thing. I have no issues with at that time Klopp going for Darwin over Nkunku. But the issue with us, Avi, is I can't afford to get it wrong. In terms of when Liverpool are going to spend £65 million on a footballer, 90% of the time we have to get it right. Would you say Darwin Nunez has been a successful transfer? Probably not, considering the amount of money that we've paid.
He's not, but Gene, he's still, and this may sound silly for me to say, he's still young enough to finesse his game even more.
25.
He's 24, 25. Okay, 25. He's still not entered his peak years, Gene. That 26, 27, 28, 29 period, 30 even period.
You're willing to wait another 3 years for him to hit his
No. I'm not waiting 3 years, but I don't think he'll be sold this summer either.
But that's fair. I can understand that.
I think we give him one more year. And it's a year where forget all about the assists, forget all about the link-up play. We want goals in that number 9. If we're playing this 4-2-3-1 or however Arne Slot wants to set up his team, he's willing to work with this kid. And that will be Arne Slot's biggest project to start off with, to really get Nunez amongst the goals. These 15, 16, 17 a season, that's not good enough for a guy of his price tag, for his skill set, because he's got it in him. If he combines everything together, he can be a potent goal scorer. He can score into his 25s, 30, 35s. He's not an Isaac yet. And I know that's the next probably player that we're looking at. Isaac is, not we're looking at Liverpool, but people will compare him to like an Isaac. Isaac is a nice cold killer. I 100% get that. But he's also playing for a team with less pressure as well, Gene. He's not playing for Liverpool Football Club. He's playing for Newcastle, where you're probably... The crowd will allow you a bit more mistakes. They're not fighting for the title. When Darwin is fighting for league titles in a Liverpool team, he has to make those chances count. He isn't at the moment.
What chances? Get it, Avi. Can I just point this out? When people you guys and people mention chances, I've said it previously on many occasions. My issue isn't missing chances. Every striker misses chances. That's just part and parcel of it. Darwin Nunez, if you actually look at the chances he's missed, they're sitters.
Yeah,
this is a big problem I have with him. Look, you can go. There's chances where you miss it, keeper saves, makes a good save. No issue with that. It happens. But when you miss sitter upon sitter of weeks of where it actually matters, and when you're going for a title, Avi, every single thing is scrutinized, and this is why Darwin. You look at the percentages in terms of finishes, the chances finished. Darwin Nunez is probably right at the bottom. And you've got Isaac, who probably finishes probably 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 of his chances. That's what we need. We need a proper finisher in front of goal. And I am not at that stage where I'm willing to give my number 9s a chance anymore. You
So
might.
you look for offers. You look for offers.
Look, if an offer came in, a decent amount of offer, I think people have said to me that they don't think Darwin Nunez will fetch the money that we paid for him. Probably not. But we're not exactly going to sell him for 40 million, are we? We're still. I believe there's clubs in Europe because the number 9 is such a rare commodity these days, Avi, that there are clubs out there that are willing to pay the dough. You had Spurs willing to pay 70+ million for him last season, and he was actually worse last season than he is this season. So if you had clubs willing to pay around the 70 million mark last season, I know they had the Harry Kane money then, but I believe that there are clubs that will pay decent amount of money in Europe, maybe not Barcelona or anything like that, but you will still be able to get decent amount of money for him. Look, Avi, for me, 2 years sample size for your number 9 is more than enough. And if the guy hasn't produced, then I'm simply not sold on him at all.
So before we move on, here's a question for you. If you're prepared to sell Darwin this season, like you're saying, this number, you're pretty much saying you're prepared to cut ties. Who's your replacement and realistic replacement? Don't give me Mbappe and something stupid like that. Give me a legitimate name. Give me a legitimate name for a 9.
Look, everybody knows and everybody will tell you here. Yes, he's slightly injury prone. Isaac, man. And why is that not legitimate? They have had issues in terms of their FFP, number 1. Number 2, they're not in the Champions League. Yes, it's a slight risk. I'm not here saying that there's no risk. There is a risk involved because of his injury ain't the best. Injury record isn't the best. But you take a pun on him, Avi, because you mentioned it yourself. He is the ice cold killer. His intricate play is brilliant. Darwin Nunez doesn't offer us anything in terms of
Kieran Dolan, and we're keeping it context here, lads. How many times has he hit the post or hit it straight at the keeper this season? That can be molded, Gene. That can be improved on. Remember Suarez? Remember Suarez under Kenny? How many times did he hit the bar? He hit the bar like more than 17 times, more than he scored that season, that single season under Kenny. And then under Brendan Rodgers, those 2 years.
How many has he miskicked? It's easy to just point out, lads. It's easy to say, lads, he's hit the post only a few inches this side. But that's the difference, Avi, between winning a title and not. It's few inches. That is the difference. When you pay 75 million for a player, you expect them few inches to go in. And that's the difference. And in terms of, you say he's missed chances. Avi, he's fluffed so many, as in fluffed them, fluffed his lines. He's hit it wrong. I don't even know what he's trying to do. Some of the things what he's tried to do is actually baffling to the eye.
No, and I totally agree with that. Look, we can go back to the last 4 weeks alone about the chances that he's missed, critical chances that he's missed. The United one in the league. The United mistake in the FA Cup that allowed Rashford to get the equaliser. I think the equaliser was it, or to put them up, or whatever. Everton, the Pickford save. You need to be calm and composed in that situation, and he might not get it. Look, I'm willing to go another year under a new manager and see what he can do. And I don't want these mentions of chaos anymore. Like that word, it's done. It's almost cringeworthy now to keep saying, "Oh, control chaos," or he causes chaos. No, we need a Darwin Nunez to be a bagsman, simple, like a Jota, like an Isaac type. Because until then yeah, I think the doors could be shut on his career. But I still think the club, the data team, yes, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, they all give him a chance. Ayush, this guy a couple of years ago was my choice when he was at Fiorentina. Vlahovic. I think he had a bit of an indifferent season last season, but this season he's back amongst the goal scorers. Juventus. I think Arsenal would be a good signing for him, though.
When I think when he chose Juve over Arsenal, there was a bit of a downside to him. And another name, Openda. What do you think?
I think he's another one that's close to Nkunku in terms of style of play. And he's come from the Belgian league. I think he scored 25, 30 this season for Leipzig. And I know he's got like a great assist makers in behind him in Olmo and Javi Simons. But I think he's a talent, Gene. But again, I think Sarib in Arsenal now. I think Sarib knows maybe that. I think Arsenal are favourites for Luis Openda this summer. I think there's a little bit of substance to that. I want to bring up a comment, Gene, if you don't mind. And you guys have got to remember, me and Gene, it's all about engaging with you guys. So make sure you guys have liked and subscribed. Always a pleasure when it's me and him. Much show already. See that when the chip's back, I bring the order back. See, for all my stupidness, I bring the order back. Yesterday was a bit of a mess. It wasn't a bit of a mess. It was just a bit of I don't know, a few punches thrown. No knockout punches though, thankfully. Cerrone James, and these are the caveat, Gene. Nunez has 30 goals involvement this season. If Firmino brought these numbers to the table like he used to, you lot wouldn't have any complaints.
He wasn't an out.
Number 9. Yeah, fair enough.
He would bring 30 of these numbers, but then he'd have 10 assists for Mane, 10 assists for Salah. He'd bring them into where they'd be on 20, 30 goals a season. He'd give us so much more in terms of our play. You come on, you're Bobby Firmino, man. He's like, you're talking about arguably the greatest false nine after Lionel Messi, probably that we'll ever see because he was that good. So Darwin.
Would you take this guy as a cheaper option instead of Isaac?
Cheaper.
I think this season he might be I think he might be less than what they want, 100 million, huh?
Napoli never let you go cheap. Never. We know that. Look at Koulibaly. They didn't let him go for 8 years. When all the big clubs in the world wanted him, they didn't let him go. So they will always want the door. But look, you're gonna have to pay.
David Brooks, I remember this show very well. As much as Sarib talks a load of whatever, he said he would take Isaac over Nunez, and the panel disagreed. We did disagree.
Yes,
we did disagree. Gene,
we did.
David, there's a lot of things at the end of the season when we do a wrap-up show. There's a lot of things that we laughed at with Sarib. We laughed at Sarib. So did the chat. He's gonna pour some cold water on us, guys. Don't worry. There's a few egg on our faces. Don't worry. But look, for everything Sarib says right, there's some things that he will say wrong. For every transfer window that I get wrong, I stay wrong. I stay wrong permanently. So it is what it is, guys. Ayush with a comment. Gene, what about this? Have you seen Jayden Danns finish from literally the same angle versus Southampton, man, in his third start? An academy 18-year-old. Gene, does he make a play next season, or do we send him out on loan?
Loan? I don't think we send him out on loan. No chance. I think he stays. I think if he continues the way he's playing, that he just needs to keep knocking on the door right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jayden, because look, I really, really like him. Really, really like him.
I think he's a finisher.
And
he's more than a finisher. I mean, I know he puts up the ball too deep, but he's
playing him. He's strong. He's willing to roll his sleeves up. He's got.
Gene, when he finishes, whether it's for the 18s or in the FA Cup game, he looks cool and calm. He doesn't look rushed. And that's what with the problem with Darwin Nunez. He looks rushed. He looks as if he's snatching at opportunities. Right. Whereas someone like Jayden Danns who's coming, or even a Jota, they just know where the goal is and they get their feet right and they put the ball in the back of the net. Our resident MBA with his shopping list already. The transfer window hasn't even opened. This guy always makes a head start. But Lewis Openda, Dusan Vlahovic, Ivan Toney, Victor Gygoris, Alexander Isaac, Ollie Watkins, Daniel Mayland, God knows where that.
I don't like him at all. Benjamin
Sesko, fair enough. Joshua Zirkzee of Bologna, very good player, and Santiago Gimenez. Gimenez for Feyenoord. He's a bagsman. He's like a Robin van Persie for me. You can go right or left, but he's a good player. He's an underrated player. Under Arne slot as well. Jeanette, give me 3 names out of those that you wouldn't mind us going for.
Isak 100%. Openda number 2, and Joshua
Zirkzee. There you go, from Gene's mouth. So let's see if we get. We probably won't even go for any of those, but let's see. Gene, the season. Oof, it feels like a long time since we've spoken about this.
The crazy thing is, Avi, I think the last time you were on the show, we were talking about winning the title.
I think it was pre-Everton game. I think that's when Sarib went on his own. It was the last time I think Sarib went on his own, showing bigger balls than I will, because I never go on my own, especially if we lose as well. So big up for that. Gene, title's over, Europa League's over, FA Cup's over. Get told of news today that there will be no parade. I think that's the right decision.
Yep, agreed.
There should be a nice farewell speech for him in front of the Kop coming into the season. I hope they do something like that. But it's been a disastrous end of the season, isn't it, Gene? I mean, I have to be brutally honest here. We have to be brutally honest here. It's been, and people will say, oh, but at the beginning of the season, if we offered you a League Cup and top 4, you'd have taken it. Yes, but when you position yourselves at the top of the league, you get a great draw like Atlanta. You've got United in the FA Cup, the worst team the worst United team in many a years, to fail in all three competitions, Gene, that's nothing short of failure, isn't it?
It is a failure, and one of the main reasons why I believe it's a failure is because we should have won every single game. We had chances to win every single game, and we let it go because our strikers didn't perform when it really mattered. Them 4 games, I can name you 3 or 4 open, clear cut chances, stroke sitters in that game where we should have scored goals in all of them games, and we bottled it. And that's the simple truth of it. Yes, granted, at the start of the season that we were nowhere near looking like we were going to go and challenge for this title. This side has put in an unbelievable amount of effort over the last 6 months to even get us where we are, especially with the amount of injuries we've had. To key players, especially in our forward line, they still managed to get us this far, and then to fall the way we fell, Avi, it hurts, and it really hurt because we should have done better in them games, but we didn't.
Why do we look faltering towards the end of the season? Yeah. And it's been a reoccurrence from last season as well. And Arsenal and City look fresh. And I know City have gone out of the Champions League and Arsenal and whatnot, but you see what City did on the weekend. They disposed of Nottingham Forest. That was no banana skin. You see what Arsenal have done in the first 30 minutes against Spurs and against Chelsea. Why did our legs fail us? Because we have had rest. No, we've had players that have had rest. The Curtis Jones got injured. The McAllisters have been injured. They've been rested. Trent.
They've not been Ali. We were knackered. The amount of effort that these guys put in when we had the likes of Szoboszlai, Curtis, Trent, Salah, Darwin, Jota, flipping hell, you're talking 5 probably players that start. And all them players, Endo and these guys, they're putting a shift during the February time when we had the FA Cup games, the Carling Cup games. Sorry, I call it the Carling Cup, but all them games, they're putting a lot of effort, and it finally showed towards this. The biggest issue that I had, Avi, was when these injured players came back, none of them performed.
Yeah.
Not one of them really performed, because you thought, what, these players are coming back, the nucleus is coming back. Hopefully, we'll see, the team start performing better. We got worse because the players that came back just simply didn't do it.
And it hasn't helped, Gene, when we go behind 23 times this season.
That's
you're absorbing that much more energy, aren't you? You're using your legs that much more to get a goal back just to equalize, and then you're going for the winner. That's been detrimental. I think that's been the main component, and even from last season, where we can't be conceding first. It comes to a point, it can't be a mental block anymore. When you've done it so many times, it's not a mental block. It's a coaching technique. It's a coaching maybe method that it's not as if you're taught to go 1-0 down. But how can there not be that much concentration in the first 15-20 minutes to not concede, Gene?
Yeah, look, we've spoken about this so many times, and obviously, Asim's come on the here numerous times and spoke about structure. We just can see there's just too many games that are basketball games where we don't control the games like the likes of Man City and Arsenal do. They make the game boring. We don't do that. These teams are so good at doing that they'll keep possession for 10, 15 minutes. When was the last time we kept possession for 20 minutes? Good. There was a comment that I just want to bring up. No. David mentioned, you keep saying knackered. David Brooks, you keep saying knackered, but we just weren't good enough. Yes, we weren't good enough, but we were knackered. There's no doubt the fact that we were knackered, David. And in terms of our injuries, it had an impact on our squad. You can't legislate for the amount of players that got injured at that time. When they came back, we weren't good. Yes, of course we weren't good enough, but that doesn't mean, David, that in them 4 games that we dropped points, that we didn't have more than enough chances to win every single one of them games. The Manchester United game, we outplayed them. Yet we didn't take our chances, and they punished us. The only game, it was the Everton game where we were absolute shit in the first half, but yet still had 4 or 5 really good opportunities, which we didn't take. Palace, again, we played shit for the first 15, 20 minutes, but then we missed so many chances again. So yes, agreed that we weren't good enough, but it doesn't mean we're not good enough. We had the chances to put these games to bed, but we just didn't because our strikers weren't good enough on the day. But Avi, going back to the 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes, that is a massive problem for Liverpool. Conceding every single time is a huge issue, and it's been an issue from last season, not just this season. We had an issue with this last season, and that put on even more pressure on our strikers in terms of trying to look, and maybe Darwin, these guys tried a bit too hard in trying to find a winner, and led to us not being composed enough in front of goal. But look, I'm not gonna sit here behind the bush. End of the day, the two teams that are ahead of us, City and Arsenal, they're deservedly ahead of us. They deserve to go for the title. They're a better side than us. We're more of a side that we're relying on an individual brilliance more than a team cohesion.
Individual moments, yeah.
Yes. So you sometimes got to give credit to the opposition and say, you know what, we weren't good enough, but there are mitigating circumstances.
No, it's true. Gene, I want to come to some players that I think are not fighting for their careers because they've had great careers, but maybe possibly moving them on. And I know we did this a couple of weeks ago, but it infuriates me that Diego Jota scores a vital goal against Fulham and then goes missing again. And we've had this argument for the best part of a year from last season when I said, listen, get an offer for him, get him gone. Because he makes, and I think I've used this just before I went on a vacation, he affects the games that we've lost or drawn in the last 3-4 weeks in a positive way. But 60 million, 50 million, Gene, you gotta bite the team's hands off if that's offered on the table, isn't it?
The issue that we have, I remember 2 years ago, Avi, you went to town on Thiago because Thiago missed 3 or 4 games that season due to injury, and they were the 3 or 4 games where we dropped points, which ultimately cost us the title. Do you remember that? I think it was the Leicester game. There was a few.
The 1-1 when Harry Maguire scored. It was snowing, and then the West Ham 0-0 as well away.
It was a few games where Thiago didn't play, and you went to town on Thiago.
Oh, that was the 21-22 season. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. And I look at Diego Jota, and I'm his biggest fan. Everybody knows that. I love Diego. I call him Diego and not Diogo because he's Diego Armando Jota to me. Yeah, just thought I'd let everybody know before he start crucifying me for calling him Diego. Look, another season of injuries in terms of he's out for the most part of the season, and it's a reoccurring theme that we're seeing with him over the last 4 or 5 years. The biggest issue we have, Avi, is because we have 5 strikers right now. Salah's 31, turning 32. Then we've got Jota injury prone. Darwin Nunez definitely not doing it. Cody Gakpo has, for me, he's been poor this season. And Luis Diaz's numbers simply ain't good enough. How many of them, we've spoke about it before, there's question marks on every single one of them. How many of them are you going to get rid of? So, and I agree that we will keep Darwin Nunez this season. Yep, granted, we will keep Darwin. Let's say we keep Salah. He said he's going to stay for another season. Avi, one of them has to go. There's no beating around the bush here. One of our forward line, and I can't see it being Cody Gakpo because he was worth 30-40 million. One of Diaz, I think is chutty for Diaz. That's why I know we're going to come on to Summerville in a bit.
I think the only way Diaz goes is if someone offers us. I think 60 million I think that's a great price for Diaz to go. And look, Diaz is one of my favorite players right now. I was a big advocate of him signing from Porto, but if someone gives us 60 million for Diaz, there are players out there that you look at and think, yeah.
You got 60 million for Diaz, you got 60 million for Jota. Who are you selling, Avi?
The biggest key in football is availability.
And you know what? Question to the panel.
I keep Diaz and sell Jota.
Diaz, 60 million for Jota. Who do you sell? Would you sell Diaz?
I would find it surprising if the comment go with Diaz to go instead of Jota.
It'd be interesting.
The C just says as it is.
Avi, like you said, availability is key though.
I'd rather go Diaz than Jota. Okay. Wayne, Jota. See, this is the problem. No, you have to choose one, Billy.
One man.
Billy's a grammar school boy as well. Like he's and then he's saying both. Sell Diaz.
Keep Jota. Diaz.
Yeah. See, I think a lot will say Diaz. But the argument is that Jota costs us titles as well and cups. You would play him against away to United. The chances that we created against United away in the FA Cup, he would have scored 1 or 2.
Easy, man.
The Everton game where Nunez misses that chance, you give that to Diego on his right foot, not on his left, but he's on his right foot, his weaker foot. If you can call that a weaker foot in Jota's attributes, he scores that past Pickford. So those moments that Nunez has slipped up in, the Luton away at Kenilworth Road, that chance that he disguised over the bar, Jota scores that. You put Jota in that position, and those are the positions that he picks up. He scores those goals. Those goals turn into points. turns into qualification. The Atlanta game. I just don't understand why people would want Diaz to go and not Jota. Jota doesn't give us the availability. And these are the thing with Naby. I was a fanboy of Naby's. Yeah, I like Naby a lot. And I was one of those people that stupidly persevered with him and said, next season will be Naby. Next season was Naby. Because we got Naby at a young age, at 24, right? Prior to his the loan move at Leipzig, and he comes back. But I always thought the first 2-3 years, I thought Naby will get it right. Naby will get it right. Before you know it, he's gone. That Paris moment. That's what you'll remember him for. Sky and get over the bar.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a comment by Ayush. The problem is you look at the successful teams and they'll always have two similar profiles up front. We have 5 different profiles and none of those work as a trio. Sell Diaz and Nunez, keep Jota for one more season. Well, good luck if you think you're going to get 35 to 45 games from Jota. Solid games. I'm not talking about, don't worry, he goes missing for 2-3 months and comes back. No, we need Jota. We keep Jota fit for 33 out of 35 league games. We probably win the league this season, Gene.
Yeah, I can accept that because he is what you called the ice cold finisher in front of goal. He left foot, right foot, he puts it away. But look, and Bob said, look, Diaz is available. We need better players. This is my thing where I sit with the Diaz thing. Diaz's availability is brilliant. And he does give us the work rate, going backwards, all of that. He offers us all of that. But end of the day, Avi, when your primary thing again is to put assists and goals on the table, and you're not doing that, then you're not good enough for Liverpool Football Club. And I know you're a big fan of Diaz. You've always been a huge fan.
But I'm being very transparent here. Give me 60 million for Diaz, and I'll sell him, Gene. Look, give me 60 for Jota, I'm selling him.
I think
give me 70 for Nunez, I'll sell him.
100%.
Give me 80 to 90 for Salah, I'm selling him. And I'm not saying we're going to get all those offers for all 4 players in the fucking summer. I'm just saying those are the price targets for me. Those are my price targets for each player. A lot of comments saying Diaz. Gene, I want to come to Arne slot. Pretty much, it's a done deal, isn't it?
Because we're talking about transfers, Avi, yeah?
Crescencio Summerville, a player, a quick one. I hope you've done your bloody research. A player who's actually from the Feyenoord Academy. So I think Arne Slot will know a bit about him. I don't think they crossed paths because I think Arne Slot was in AZ Alkmaar at the time.
One second, this David, one second. I need to just, because we skipped a Jota question from him. Where did we skip for him? Jota plays 30 and 31. We still didn't win the title. So what you guys?
Yeah, David. Also, we missed that league title by a point. If it wasn't for Steven Gerrard ballsing it up yet again, we would have won that title. No. Truth be told, if you want to hear the truth, that's the truth. You shouldn't slip. You shouldn't let a 2-0 lead slip. You shouldn't. And Gerrard did. It was his lack of tactical acumen that the league was given to City. Simple as. So yeah, he did thing, and we got a lot closer. We took it to the last day. We are not taking the league to the last day this season. We didn't take the league last season on the last day. Last season we finished sixth, fifth. We finished last season. So David, there's your answer. Yeah, I'm sorry I have to be brutally honest, but I had to be.
No, another thing I knew you mentioned about Jota's injury was an impact injury this season. This season, David.
We will never skip a question, David. Yeah. We will never skip a question. Let me tell you, when I'm on the show, or Gene's on the show, or Asim is on the show, or Sarib, we will never skip a question. But you've got to come with your hardcore facts if you're going to bring us a question. The king won't miss, and neither does a chip. Go on, Gene.
Look, you mentioned the Jota's injury was an impact injury, so keep the same sort of thingy for Salah. Yes, it was an impact injury this time, but over the last 4 or 5 seasons, we've seen that he's injured every single year, mate. Whereas in terms of when we're speaking about Salah and his injury, he's had 1 injury in 8 seasons. He's been out for 3 months in 1 year out of the 8 seasons he's been here. Whereas Jota, he's probably been out at least once every single season for at least a few months.
Every season, he's out for 2-3 months every season.
There's a difference when we call out Diaz, Jota's injuries and not Salah's, because he's only been injured once.
No, what was the injury against Fulham that he got? What was it? What was Asim saying? Was that Summerville's agent who rang you? We'll come to Crescencio Summerville. I think he's got 21 or 22 goals in 44 games this season for Leeds. I liked him, Gene, and I know you're going to say, here we go. I liked him in the Premier League.
I was at the game.
I liked him. He scored the winner. He scored the winner. I liked Summerville then. I thought there's a bit. I'm surprised no one took a punt on him last season. The season that they got relegated. Good player. Good player. He's 22, Dutch. Can play off the left, play off the right. He likes to dribble. He likes to dribble centrally. I think we like him a lot, Gene. So much so, I think maybe there might be some talk coming in the coming months about Summerville to Liverpool. Your thoughts? And is it that we've tried it with Carvalho, that transition from a Championship player to Premier League didn't quite work out for Carvalho? Do you think Summerville has that next step up in him?
Look, this is the $1 million question. We talk about Carvalho. Look, one of the main reasons why Carvalho didn't make it at Liverpool is because there was no position for him. We don't play a 4-2-3-1. There was no, we play a 4-3-3. Where was really Carvalho going to fit in this Liverpool side? So no, that's why one of the reasons why Carvalho didn't really make it at Liverpool yet. Right? In terms of Summerville, Avi, I really like Summerville, and I like
that yet. I like that little yet. There's still hopes for a Ballon d'Or winner in Fabio Carvalho. Chal ball.
But Summerville, I really like him. He reminds me of a Raheem Sterling, but I think he's got a slightly better finish than him. You can go both ways. Low center of gravity, can play on both flanks. He's got the attributes. He's at the right sort of age, and he's got a bit of bite in him as well. He looks like a strong little fella as well. He's got that stature. I really like him. But again, Avi, like you mentioned, he's proved it in the Championship. It is a massive step up. But there's some players that you look at and you think, you know what, these guys have made it. Look at that Wharton kid from Palace. I think they signed him in January or something. He's been unbelievable since.
Adam Wharton, yeah.
So there's certain players that you look at and you think, you know what, these players are sort of worth taking a punt on, and he's one of them. But
we can't be doing punts though, Gene.
No.
Can't be taking a punt like taking a chance on him.
1 second. Robbo was a punt, Avi, but it was a calculated one. You have to respect the fact that we give so much crap to our data teams and all that. Why didn't we pick this player up earlier? Why didn't we pick this player when he was Caicedo, when he was in let's say lower in flipping Europe, wherever he's from, yeah? But now look at Archie Griffin. Bilal mentions brilliant footballer.
He's the one. Yeah. His brother's he's a player too. His brother, younger brother. I think
players that we have to go with and take. And if this kid is a really, really good footballer, then we got to go and get him. I like him. I think he will be able to make the step up to the Premier League. It's a huge step going from a Leeds to a Liverpool, challenging for titles every season. So, but look, if Edwards wants him, and I trust whatever Edwards does in terms of what he's done over the last few years, his hit rate is pretty high. So if Edward wants him, then we go with it.
I think they'll want silly money though. 35, even 40.
What if they don't get you? Avi, 30 million
for a Championship player?
Does he not have a really, really high ceiling?
I'm not a big fan of these Dutch players coming to the Premier League, Gene.
That I can accept.
And I know he's playing in the Championship. Look, the Championship is a tough league. But numbers in the Championship is very different doing those numbers in the Premier League. Harry Wilson, former Liverpool winger, was doing great numbers at Fulham in the Championship, for Cardiff, even Hull, and he just never got a chance at Liverpool. Sometimes a step too far is that next sort of level. But look, he has the tools. He is quick. Someone said that he's as quick as Mbappe. I don't know whether that's true. David Brooks is putting in some really clever comments today, Gene. As he said, Carvalho would win Ballon d'Or. No, hold on. Laughing his head off and then saying clown. I think you're mixing me up with Gene, but it's fine. I'm happy to be class. I'm happy to be class clown.
New characters who's just.
I've been called far worse, David. Far worse, David. Asim saying another player, Gene. I know you're a big fan of Mohamed Kudus. I don't think you'll see Mohamed Kudus at Liverpool, unfortunately. He's one of the ones that you like, don't you, Gene?
I liked him before he went to West Ham. I've said it previously. I saw him play against us in that Champions League game for Arne at Anfield, and I thought he was phenomenal. He's got a bit about him. He's had a decent sort of first season, not unbelievable in terms of numbers, but there's a big player in there. But again, and then yeah, somebody mentioned there's a clause in his contract, meaning that if a Champions League club comes in for him, West Ham have to let him go. And I think there was another club that went
Is
for
it
him.
30 million?
I don't know exactly the clause. But if there's a clause in there and it's around 30 million, Avi, let's say if you're saying 30, 40 million. No, because they paid how much they paid.
But where are you fitting him in?
Avi, we have to sort of start planning for Salah's exit as well. We have to start planning. And he played on the right hand side against us, Avi, on the weekend. Because I think he played on the left. So it's interesting to see where he plays.
Very similar.
5 million
His numbers are similar to Diaz's.
Huh?
His numbers are similar to Diaz's.
It's his first season though.
Fair enough. Uze Hussein, Asim, I think it's about Kudus. I agree, sadly, that we won't get Kudus, but I believe Edward will find the next Kudus with his data, and I got all confidence in him to find another. If Edward wants some of it, I accept it. I think that's what it is. Look, if the data team say that Crescencio Summerville is the man to take us forward, and to be one of the game changers that we need in the front three sort of positions, then you'll take him. I'm just querying those numbers. Ben Rama did incredible numbers for Brentford, I think, in the stats, and he's not replicated that in the Premier League, unfortunately. Loads of players. Gene, you know who my number one target is when it comes to a forward line player. Where is it? It's this guy. Selection said it today. Nico Williams is the one. He is the one.
How much are you talking?
Honestly, first we've got to talk to the player to leave the Basque region of Bilbao and leave his brother as well. If then we get him on board, you're talking 60 million, but I'd spend it. Gene, this guy is going to be amazing. 22.
I like him. I like
15 assists this season.
Yeah, everybody for that position. Look, I've said Liao, and I know there's a call.
Pulija, move on from Liao.
If you want elite type of players that are gonna bring in the output, he's got everything about him. He needs a move away from Milan. Milan isn't a club for him now. He needs one of the elite clubs to take him to a different sort of level. And then you've got Kravashvili, wherever, if I've probably butchered his name. He's another one, but again, this hasn't been his best season. But he was at Napoli. He was unbelievable last season. He's
Fadi, a resident contributor on our channel. Wharton is class. Him and Doucouré together are going to be a problem. I think he tweeted something about Palace next season. Fadi did about Wharton and Doucouré being an option. Doucouré is someone that I think we looked at last summer, but Adam Wharton, cultured left foot, but he showed us up at Anfield earlier in the season.
Brilliant against us.
I've got a feeling United are going to get him under the new regime. I think they're going to make this guy a real first sort of target to get Palace. But Gene, I'll take him in without a blink of an eye. I'll take Adam Wharton.
You're just watching him for a couple of games. How much do you think he's going to be worth right now?
Gene, sometimes you look at a player and you know.
Yeah. Look, I
don't know what it is about. I don't know whether it's just me, guys. You call me a clown, whatever you feel like. David would probably have his say. But for me, there's something about left-footed players in that midfield area. They just look so much better optically as well when you're looking at them. But this player, Gene, he's got the lot. I don't want to mention names.
My sample size of him is 2 games, so I'm not going to sit here and say that he's an unbelievable footballer, because he's a really good footballer from what I've seen. I've only seen 2 games. I mean, he's good. But you know what? And one thing that I will say is, and I agree with one thing, is I do want us to sign good players, if possible, that have slightly proven in the Premier League. I would go for, Bilal mentioned Eze, Olise. These are 2 players.
Injury prone though.
Eze injury prone as well?
Yes, Eze's had his fair share of injuries.
I thought it was just
Olise. And Olise, no. Well, it depends on how Arne Slot sets up his team and in training and whatnot. I think they're way too injury prone. Olise is a good player, talented player, and we were linked with him when he was at Reading. But no. Chiesa's one, I think the ACL. I don't think he's ever recovered. I know he's had an okay season this season.
Man. He was the one I've wanted for so long, Adam. Chiesa was the one that I raved over, man. But that injury has just done him in, and plus he just never wanted to leave.
Everyone in the chat, 180 of you guys, make sure you've liked and subscribed, guys. Subscribe. I can't say it anymore. Give me one name, realistic name for a DM this summer. These are great shout, by the way. Carlos Baleba.
Believe it or not, he's the only one. Believe it or not, he's probably the only one
that you want.
That no, I want. I don't. It's crazy, but is there any other great real midfielders out there that play a dominant six that you want right now? Douglas
This is a
Luiz,
brilliant comment. Were you guys not doing this last year? We signed none of the players you were chatting about. Hey, I'm probably one to blame. But going back as a six,
Shazad, that's all on him. By the way, that's all on Avi. Yeah, we were just
Douglas Luiz.
That is a good call. Matt, we've Ogate. I think obviously the news come out that PSG are letting him
They want to let go of him.
Yeah, they want to let go of him.
I think he's too old, Mohamed. But good shout.
Barella's a good shout.
Oh, selection, please. So, you know what? For that, you deserve to send in a super chat now, Matt Weaver. Come on, no more Dutch players. I can't be dealing with them. We need someone. No. Ugarte.
So who do you?
Varey is the one that's strongly linked, isn't it? The Porto one.
Yeah.
Ugarte needs out of PSG. Ugarte is superb. I need to see more of Ugarte. I wasn't oversold on him when he was at Sporting. I know Moby. We had Moby on the show, and he absolutely loved Ugarte, but I was still unsure. He's had a mixed season at PSG. Varela is the one they're saying no physical dominance though. Is 5'9" though, dual win percentage.
Yeah, Avi, we need an if anything, we need an Ugarte. Was it Ugarte that played? I'm sure he played. Who did he play against in Europe, an English side? And I thought it was brilliant.
Was it Arsenal? Arsenal. The Europa League, yeah.
It might have been Arsenal. Both games, I thought, yeah, and I know did he get sent off in one of them, but I thought it was brilliant, you know. There was a proper bite about him. And I like that in him.
Two areas then, Gene, you definitely think a DM?
There's no doubt. A centre-back, no, there's no doubt. My tip's going, we need to sign a centre-back. I think minimum 4. You need a centre-back. You need a mid 100%. You need a number 6.
So DM winger talked about, and I'm sure there'll be, and then listen, the players that we've mentioned, we probably won't even get any of them. There'll probably be someone that comes through, or not comes through, but someone that the data team have found. Gene, centre backs. Asim put a great tweet out today on Diomande, Sporting Lisbon, and obviously those links were a lot stronger a few weeks ago because of the Amarim talk. But give me some centre backs out there.
You know, there's Vicky. Vicky's been going on about these centre backs now on the BNR thread for a little while, and he's.
Gene, before we interrupt, he's the number 1, isn't he?
Is he the?
He's the ball playing 6 we need.
No,
he's got the Rodri. Plus, he's got he's got a little bit more than Rodri.
Avi, I don't think he's got the Rodri. I think he's a proper ball playing centre back. Midfielder. I think we really need a combative 6 though. I think we have every other profile bar the combative 6, which we really lack right now.
Release clause apparently in Bruno Gomes.
And a double pivot. I like him, man, but I want a proper combative 6. I don't know how many of them are out there, but that is my profile of player that I want in that 6 in the midfield right now. Because we've got other players, we've got Bajicic coming through. You know, I just need we have everything bar a rock, and that's what we need right now, a rock in that midfield. Honestly, if Paulinho wasn't 28, 29, and he was 24, there's no doubt I would go and get Paulinho, mate.
People are saying William Pacho of Feyenoord. Are these lazy links, Gene, because of the Dutch links now that we're just going to hear of all these names like Matt Weaver, Pacho?
I saw when we were linked with Pacho, I actually did a bit of research on the. He's a good player, you know. I really Hincapie definitely stands out, man. If I could get a centre back, Hincapie. But a question for you now, Avi. We say defenders. Do we need 2? You've seen number 1, the reliability of Kanate, right?
2, if it depends on Arne Slot, who, we're assuming Joe Gomez is staying at Liverpool. It depends on whether Arne Slot sees him as a centre back again or as a full back. Then we need 1. Kanate is another one. I love him. Don't get me wrong. I love Ibu, but he's another one that we're gonna have to give 1 more year in terms of get your fitness right. Let's see if your body is developing again, and not mean growth, but like if we can work around these muscle issues that he's suffering. If he can give us a full season, then we're okay. Then you know that, okay, look, maybe these issues were just, because, when he was 22, 23, 24. But now he's entering that age now, that critical age, 25 to 30 now, his peak years as a central defender. If he has a stop-start season again, then next summer you got to look at another one. Because look, Van Dijk's 33 in July. Gomez, you've got Kanate, and I think you need one more.
Kwanzaa.
Oh no, you got Kwanzaa as well. Because of course, does Kwanzaa start first game of the season next year? Oh, next season.
All fit, firing, and ready to play. I'd play Kanate. I'd start Kanate, and Van Dijk, because that is our number one pairing. Kanate will definitely make a push for the next season. Sorry, Kwanzaa is definitely going to make a push for the next season if Kanate is injured, and the likelihood is that he probably will be. It's funny because over the last month we've seen Kwanzaa start more than Kanate in playing in the league games. We had Kanate playing in the Europa League games and the cup games. So it was a bit of an interesting one in terms of how Klopp saw it. It's an interesting time. I think we need two. I think we need to sign a replacement for Joe Matip, number one, and then secondly, I think there's a question mark on our left hand side in regards to Robbo and Tsimikas. I think one of them goes, and I think we have to bring in another one. I genuinely believe that. I think we can't have.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant two central defenders. So you're looking at two defenders, one left back, one centre back, kind of type.
Yeah,
I think Kirk is.
Good shout. Liked him. I know you've liked him for a long time. You had him in the team of the year.
Well, I name about 1,000 players a year. You know, one's about to come up.
No, I actually know you like the kid though.
I had him at team of the year. Team of the year. You laugh. I think Kirk is.
Robo, I'm saying I think it's time we moved one on. I think they're just way too similar in terms of. I think we need to bring in a different type of profile on our left hand side, because as Asim spoke about so many times, you're looking at Arsenal and City, they're playing with 4 centre backs practically, which gives them a lot more structure, and that's why they're so hard to beat. We don't really have that. Nouri is they're gonna want stupid money, but I would love Nouri. Is he injured again though?
No, I saw some sequence of play. I'm sure it was him. I think it was maybe that Gomez of Wolves. Fucking hell. That was pretty good. Martsen's a good shout. The Dortmund player. I think is he on loan from Chelsea? I'm pretty sure he's had a good season. But I think Kirk is. I think he'll be high on that list. Anthony Robinson for Fulham. I think he's good. I like him. Durable.
I liked him. I've watched him.
ACL, unfortunately, but Hartman is one of Feyenoord. If Arne wants to go shopping back to his old club, he's definitely a left back that I would think about. But I think he's just had an ACL. He's recovering from an ACL. My apologies.
Yeah, but you mentioned what's his name? What did you do? Robinson. It's funny because the way he played against us in that first game, he was phenomenal. He was unbelievable that game. So we did some research on him, and I was reading from some Fulham fans. I think that was his best game of the season, and he hasn't been that great over the course of the season compared to how good he was in that game. So he's a bit of a weird one. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm a more Kirkes over Robinson at the minute. Yeah,
I think Kirk is. I think
Dogu as well.
Who's that?
Patrick Dogu.
Don't know enough to comment on him. We're gonna do our research. Kaiser, this one always comes from you on Twitter as well. Patrick, we're gonna do a good transfer show where we will name 3-4 defenders, left back positions, centre back positions, midfield. That's for the summer, and we'll obviously with the Euros, Copa America to keep ourselves busy, and then let's see what Edwards. But we'll definitely be talking more about these players. Any truth in Alisson wanting to leave, Gene? Do you think he leaves?
Do I think he leaves? It's a weird one. I don't think he leaves. He might want to leave, but I don't think he leaves. I think he might want out.
How much are we talking? 50?
50?
More?
You're gonna laugh.
Less.
50 million.
It's 31, Gene. It's going to be 32 in October. Sabr career. You're not going to get 60, 70 million for him.
Of course you are, man. The Alisson will play till he's fully 40, man. That's how good he is.
You think we get more?
Of course.
Wow.
Of course, 50 million, you're taking the piss. Well, 50 million buys you flipping I don't know, Ramsdale nowadays, man. You're talking about the best goalkeeper in the world. Come on, Avi. I'm surprised you think that we wouldn't get 50 million. You were willing to sell my man for 50 million quid. You must be having a laugh. We'd be effed, mate, if he was going
Am I allowed to drop some ITK?
No. Not if you're gonna come with 50 million shit, man. Don't even bother.
It's not really ITK. It's not really
50 million
ITK.
he goes 31, 32 is pretty young for a goalkeeper nowadays.
Look at this comment by Jay. Good job, Abby doesn't look after our finances. Asim saying drop it. I think we should tread carefully with Alisson this summer. I think if parties are right, if the right clubs come knocking.
You mentioned the right club. Sorry, you mentioned the right clubs. Who are you talking about? Barcelona, Real Madrid have got Courtois and
Look at this bastard. He has a worse conversion rate than Darwin.
He's right though. When you start talking pretty 50 million for Alisson, you deserve more.
How much would you sell Alisson for? Realistically, how much do you think?
Look, I don't want to sell him because he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But
if someone
if there was a price, 100 million.
Wow, for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, at 31, 32, he's got 7, 8 years at his prime, man. 50 million. You're off your rocker, mate.
I've said what I've said, but I also think that James Trafford for Burnley is definitely a goalkeeper we like. Definitely a goalkeeper we like. Chalo. Arne Slot, to end the show, Arne Slot. And guys, listen, 185 of you, 190 at one stage. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Gene Arne Slot coming in. Real sort of, let's be a bit real and frank. Expectations for next season. What are they for you? An identity?
Yeah, that's 100%. We want to be able to play with the look. I think one of the key for me is look. We've watched gegenpress sort of football now for God knows how many years. It's been an unbelievable ride, but I want to see a lot more structure in our play now, and I think we've seen that with the way Chelsea and Arsenal and City played over the last few years. We need to see him put a stamp on the way he wants this Liverpool side to play in terms of the 4-2-3-1 that he really likes. If I'm able to see that and I can see that this team is going places, it's a huge transfer market. We need to get the transfer market right, making sure he has they brought in the right players for him to carry out what he wants to carry out. But for me, if we top 3 next season, as Ayush mentions, a good cup run, especially in the Champions League, I take it because it's a transition season. It's the first season after Klopp. I would definitely take that. You can't not take that. It'll be interesting to see how we go on, man. I'm excited by it though. We've watched the same certain way of playing football now for about 8 or 9 years. I think it was time for the change, and I am excited with what Slot's going to actually do with this team and how he's going to play. I know there's murmurings the way he plays. It is a bit more Klopp the way he plays. There's a gegenpress involved. They win the ball high up, but we want to know. And Asim's mentioned it a bit, on yesterday's show or day before was. It'll be interesting to see how he combines the gegenpress with the controlled football. How is he going to play? What is he going to actually do? Who is he going to play in the 10? Because if Salah stays and we're talking about him moving positions, where is he going to go? Is he going to be the 9 or the 10? And then when the winger that we bring in, is it going to be the one on his side? Because we mentioned Kudus. What if we buy Kudus to play on that side with Salah in the 10? It'll be an interesting how he looks after that. But one of the most important things for me, Avi, is we have to be able to control games.
Can I ask you a question? Question and your thought. Actually, more of your thought than question. Wild Thing says, how many seasons do we give him? I'm going to give you a scenario now. We finished 5th. FA Cup, but there's an identity of play. There's an identity that's been recognized, and throughout the season, it's got better and better, and we've had a great finish, but we finished 5th. Is that acceptable? And does he get a second year?
No, it's not acceptable. For me,
you think the knives would come out from them?
I think the knives will be out.
And I'll tell you why I say that.
If the way you're talking, Avi, I think the knives will be out a lot earlier than what you think, because we're not used to him. So Klopp got away with it when he missed out on the Champions League because he was Jurgen Klopp. We're Liverpool Football Club, Avi. We still have on paper right now, we're still the third best side in the Premier League. You can't expect us to go from 3rd to 5th.
We always allow new managers that transition season. And I'll tell you why I mentioned that. Brendan Rodgers' first season. I know, but Brendan Rodgers' first season, as the season went on, the identity was clear of the blueprint. He was set out that he did this 300-page dossier before he put the pen to paper. We saw it as the season went on that Rodgers got us to play football. A little few tweaks here and there in terms of players. He got Sturridge and Coutinho in that January. Great. Second season, we went again and nearly did, Brady, the unthinkable. I think this manager will get 3 years at this football club. I think we'll give him 3 years. Regardless of how we finish next season, he will get 3 years.
2 seasons, he finishes 5th. He's staying up for the 3rd season.
No, obviously, come on, yard. He will get a review next season. But I think if he gets 5th and say he doesn't even get a cup, say he gets 5th, I think he will get a 2nd year. If there is a clear identity of how this team is being played. If there's no identity and it's a bit of the same old, then I think it's curtains.
Yes, we do jack shit in the Champions League. In the Champions League as well, we do jacklets, yeah, and we don't really do well in the league. Sorry, in the cups. Come on, Avi, man. Are you accepting that? Even though there's a slight way of new.
We always show patience, though. We always show patience, though.
Side is good enough. If this, we've got a really, really good football team. We're not a shit football team. We're not. Yes, we've lost the title, and we're all deflated right now, and we think like the world's going to sort of end. But we actually have a good football team. So for us to say we're going for a title one season and then to drop off to 5th out of the Champions League the next season, it's okay. TK, look, if you look guys that can accept that, you can accept it. I wouldn't. I don't accept that. I want at least a top 4 finish. I'd be happy with it. I would be real. Exactly. I mean, you can't let other sides. When I say top 5, I mean Champions League, by the way. Yeah, you can't allow once you leave the Champions League, it's really difficult to get back in. If let's say the Uniteds improve, and I don't want to say that, but the other teams around us improve and they manage to take it to the next sort of level, then it's catch up. I don't want to be catching up. I've spent all my life catching up to these teams. 30 years of will be catching up. I ain't taking any more catching up. We have to have a top 4 finish in terms of getting to the Champions League bare minimum. What is the point of finishing 5th? You've been in a Champions League campaign. You're out of the Champions League next season, and you just because you see an identity. And identity is not everything.
No manager in Liverpool Premier League history has ever inherited such a good team. Top 4 minimum or P45. That's fair. Okay. Now, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. I'm saying it now before the naysayers and call me a clown, whatever again. I think we're title contenders next season from game 1. I really do. I think there's something special about this guy. I don't think he's coming and then this already the jokes with Ten Hag's, Baya's coming, this and that. No, I really believe in this manager. I really do. Football coach. This coach, I really do. Let's see where it takes us. Guys, we are just going to quickly, there's some comments that we starred. Ash Xerxes is the player, link it all together for us. Fair enough. Number 9, good player. Sakib, I think I addressed this anyway. Sakib, out of Williams, Bakayoko, Summerville, who would you take? Nico Williams.
I'd take Nico out of all 3, 100%.
The Slotonator, what a great name. It will be another year of misses, I'm sure of that. I think that's to do with Darwin. Yep. Nunez. Does Klopp get a statue? That's a good question. Gene? For me, he does. Delivering a title that I never saw as a kid, whatnot. Into my teens.
We don't even have a Kenny Dalglish statue yet, man.
Klopp deserves one.
I know we've got a stand named.
I'm not talking about Kenny here. I'm talking about.
There's with all due.
Would you put a statue of Jurgen?
No. Because if you ain't got a statue.
Would you name the Klopp end?
No chance, man. The Klopp end is Klopp end, man. You're mad.
Uzair, guys, prediction for Prem next season. We need the 4 of us to do that.
Yeah,
we'll do 4 of us. Asim will work on his presentation skills on PowerPoint to get that all done for the 4 of us. Another one from Uzair. I don't know, but these Summerville links don't get me excited one bit. I feel it's underwhelming. We need Kudus, in my opinion. Address that. Please don't buy Summerville. Make sure we go all for Kudus. Address that one. Wharton, Adam Wharton. Selection, Kudus holding width, playing right wing is a bad use of him. His best attributes are the same as Diaz. Ball carry from deep and ball striking. Ash for the super chat. Thank you so much, mate, for tuning in and for sending the super chat. Nico Williams release clause 43 million. Danny Olmo release clause 52. There's deals out there. Bologna want 40 for Xerxes. I trust Edwards, whoever he decides. Fair enough. Avi, could Sepp van der Berg and Luke Chambers and Beck get chances. Not the other two. I think Callum Scanlon is the one that the club is really excited for. Sepp van der Berg, he's had a great season. He's had a great season in Bundesliga. Let's see. I'm sure these players will be looked at. Mujahideen Rajabali, Ten Hag's Bhai, Bade Maya, Shote Maya. Great film, by the way. Tiger Shroff and Akshay Kumar. Very good film. Billy goes, "Where's your apology to Salah? Sentiments were right, but you executed it 100% wrong. Dungar, 100%. It was wrong. I said it was foul. I said it was derogatory. I did apologize." Mohammed Altaf, please call out the Xtra sponsorship Liverpool on your platform. As Muslims, we have a responsibility to call this out. Love to the Palestinian brothers and sisters. Our views are on Twitter if we want to say something. It is unfortunate that we are talking about sponsorships which are linked with certain groups and whatnot. It's the same for gambling, and it's the same for betting and whatnot. It's and alcohol. We were sponsored by Carlsberg. It's not right. But any personal views we will voice out on Twitter. But thank you, Mohammed, for tuning in. Gene, anything else? Selection in at the last minute, right in the last minute. Unless we think the big up the selection, by the way. And you can calm down a little bit as well. Don't know how much money is in that crypto account of yours, but Busker. Unless we think the adaptation of a new style which involves more intricacy is instant, it's not. Then he should have given time. Slot approach is not the same as Klopp. Big misconception. Gene?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Look, I'm not going to deny the fact that, end of the day, we're signing. If Slot comes in, he's got to still produce. We're still one of the best sides in England. We still expect a top 4 finish. You can't, come in. Yeah, he's going to take him time to adjust. Yes, you're a coach. You've got a really, really good side. Hopefully, he'll be back in the transfer market with the players that we believe. Well, not him at the end. I know the final word lies with Edwards right now. That's what we think. But he will have a squad that I believe will be good enough to at least finish 3rd minimum next season. And we shouldn't. Yes, it's a transition season. I get that, but we shouldn't sit here and think right now that we should accept less. Avi, how can you accept less from going from 3rd to 5th? It doesn't make sense for me. But people are different. People are a lot more, let's say, easy in terms of how well we do next season. I'm not. I still want to be in the Champions League the year after.
Yeah, I think you said it right. Top 4 should be minimum. I think we will. I hope that we do get a cup. But I think the one thing that we'll get, Gene, is loyalty and support from our fans. That's one thing. We'll back him. We'll back him until we really, get desperate and results are not going his way, and there's not been identity. Before we end it, Asim, great show. Smash a like on the way out. Big announcement coming soon. Interesting.
I don't know about the announcement, but Asim,
I don't know. Unless he's got Fabrizio Romano on the weekly. I don't think our budget stretches that far unless Selection wants to. Unless Selection wants to become a part-time investor. Nice one, lads. I am back. I wanted to do a show. I think it was good is that me and Gene are back. And then Friday, I think we'll go again. Gene, who have we got this weekend? Spurs?
Spurs at home.
Spurs at home. Klopp's penultimate game before the Wolves home game. Okay.
Yeah.
At Anfield. Contracts to sort out as well, Cathal.
That'll be next. I think we're going to be speaking about
exactly. But guys, make sure you've liked and subscribed. This has been Gene and Chip talking footy, talking all things Liverpool. Make sure you've liked and subscribed, and we shall see you on Friday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Play the ball.